one of the big benefits is people want to know when they're buying cards, especially if they're spending a premium on, say, a hot rookie or an autograph or a jersey card. They want to know it's not been tampered with. They want to know it's authentic. They want to know the autograph is real. That, that the card hasn't been trimmed or recolored. And by having it graded and authenticated, that's their assurance. They know that hasn't taken place. So it's a natural card. The other advantage is obviously people want the best they can get. So, to get a gem mint card and a 10 autograph, that's, they want to get, and then even then they want the pristine, which is the best. And like with our subgrades, just because you have a pristine, it may not be all 10 subgrades. So out there somewhere, there's one that's the best it could be, one, maybe two, and so everybody wants the best possible for a collection. So grading your card, if you have a card you feel like has a chance at that pristine level, you're going to get more money for the card. Let's take a look here. Actually, I opened a pack up yesterday, and I was telling Bill, I was impressed with the quality of the cards that you guys do. These are really great. We actually opened a pack and graded all the cards in the pack yesterday. It was really cool because there were 2 10s, which are pristine, which is the highest grade, a 9.5, and a 9. So, I mean, to get 2 pristines out of one pack of cards is pretty crazy. But it has a lot to do with the quality of these cards and the stock that they're printed on. Some of the things that we look for 4 areas on the card. We look for centering, which these are what we call full bleed images because there's no distinct border. Yep. So, some things we look for are the devices, as we call them, such as logos, and you can see the design here with the triangle. So we use those types of devices to determine the centering. And what happens a lot of times on new products is we'll get new products from manufacturers, maybe a box or maybe 2 boxes or whatever, and we'll actually bust the packs and go through it and see what the consistency is for the centering. And of course we look for what the edges normally look like. So we get a sample base to work from. But centering is one of the big areas we look for, like I just talked about. The next big area is the corners. And I think most collectors are familiar with the corners. We're looking for since these are right out of the pack, we're not necessarily looking for damage from wear and tear, people handling them, but manufacturing damage. What's really nice about these, this type of stock that's used on these, they're really tough, and so they have great corners right out of the packs. Another area we're looking for is the edges. And one area that's fairly common with newer cards, some of the other manufacturers have to contend with, is chipping. And again, on this stock is really cool. We noticed it yesterday. We're looking at it. There's hardly any, if any at all, in chipping from manufacturing. When the cards are cut, it'll sometimes just put some little tiny chipping along the edges, and it doesn't necessarily hurt the grade per se, but it's taken into account the overall grade. But these really clean edges, which is cool. The final area we look at is the surface, and we're looking for everything from cards that may have a crease or a crimp from when it was manufactured, but also print dots, stray print dots, marks from the manufacturing. And also sometimes in some cards, if they have a glossy coating applied to it, you'll have bubbling and things. So those are things that are taken into account for the grade. So we take the 4 what we call subgrades, and they factor into an algorithm to calculate the overall card grade. These are what we call foil cards. There's also cards that are known as refractors that have a similar an effect. And one thing you have to look out for sometimes is what we call a refractor line or a foil line. And it seems like when the foil is applied, a lot of times it's in rolls, and there'll be lines in the foil. Yeah. And so sometimes those will show up in the card. So that will affect the grade. That'll factor into the surface grade. This one in particular is free from any lines or any defects in the foil, so it's a very clean surface. And now where you have a card that has a lot of the foil surface, you have more chance of having a defect or a line through it. But actually, this one's very clean. I don't see any of the lines through the foil. So it's a good-looking jersey card. Those are really cool. I like the double ones like that. And this one is also a foil card. And again, it don't see any manufacturing defects in the foil. There's none of the lines that run through the surface. So again, that's another clean card. Now this is a really good example. There's basically two types of what we call pack pulled autographs. There's the on card or sticker. And yeah, and as you can see, these are a special hologram sticker that's signed and then applied to the card. What's cool is because you can put the autograph on any type of card, you can make a really cool product. The only drawback that we see on the sticker type autographs is you can see right here where the autograph ran off the sticker. Yeah. And so that does affect the grade, the autograph grade. So that's one of the most common areas that you know, we look for and collectors look for. The other areas with the autograph grades would be the actual physical condition of the autograph, and meaning like smudging or you know, damage. I mean, you've seen even where players have signed a card, accidentally touched it, and that'll affect the grade. What doesn't affect the grade, and sometimes people are confused, if a player signs it in a sloppy fashion, or you know, we don't take that into consideration. We take into consideration only the physical condition of the autograph. And so let's see if this one's a good example. This one's actually really good quality, but I'll show you where you can run into a problem sometimes. And for instance, right here in this seam, this is a higher than the rest of the patch. Excuse me. And so what can happen is when the card's put together and the patch is really large, it can actually crease the card surface. And you know, a little bit of bowing there is taken into consideration. That's just part of the manufacturing. But when it actually damages the surface, that does affect the grade, definitely. And again, like I said, this one is higher up, but it's great. It fits perfect. There's no damage to the surface at all. So that's a good example of how they should look. Yeah, you know, this one, you know, foil looks great. Sometimes in older cards from like the 90s, like just an example off the top of my head, like the Stadium Club cards that have foil like this, sometimes the foil wasn't applied properly or came off or something. That would affect the grade. It seems like printing technology's come a long way since then. Like this one, for instance, there's nothing wrong with the foil there. But if there was, you know, if there was a defect in the foil when it was applied to the card, then yeah, that would affect the surface grade. If this particular product, say, does come maybe a millimeter short one way or the other, it's not going to affect the grade, and we like to see a good sample from the manufacturer so we know, you know, hey, we know that these normally come a little short or whatever. So, but as far as affecting the grade, it wouldn't.
With the little book to put the stickers in.
That one? So what we're going to do